Back with you on the Market Day Report. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Marlon Bowling with you, and we are going to take your first look at the markets today now that the futures are running. In fact, let's go to the big board and take a peek at the corn and soybeans and wheat, and we'll see what the latest trades are. As we pull up that corn market right now, a little bit of weakness showing up here. We have December corn down 2 1/4 at 350 1/4. And we have March down 2 1/4 to get things started. We're trading at 360 today. How about the soybeans? Well, as we move over there, we have November still double-digit gains, 10 1/2 higher at 993 1/2. January 11 higher at 1003 1/4. On the soy meal trade, we'll see how it's opening up this morning. Right now, we have the December contract, $2.20 higher at 308.70 per ton. January up to 10. Soy oil trade, we have the December contract 87 points higher. How about that? 35.99 now is the last trade. January up 86 points. If we can look at that canola market, we've been watching that with interest here with the bad weather impacting the harvest in Canada. Wow, up 5.50 again this morning on November. January up $6.50 in Canadian money at 513.90 per metric ton. Wheat trade in Chicago, we have the December contract down 3 3/4. We're at 410 3/4 on the low of the overnight and early morning trade. And in Kansas City wheat, we have December now at 418 1/2. That's down 3. In the Minneapolis market right now, December up 1/2 at 529 1/2. Cotton, real quickly on December, is 8 points lower at 68.99. Let's go to the phones and welcome Dewey Strickler of AgWatch Market Advisors in Franklin, Kentucky. And you have to focus on that soybean trade that gets everybody's attention here in the overnight trade. What happened to take the spurs to the beans?
Well, really what you've got is an oil-driven market here more than anything else. Palm oil was higher here overnight. Looks like the trade is following that. And if you look what the funds have been doing, they've been in the market buying beans for the past 3 weeks. They have a long position on now of about 320 million bushels. Looks like they're going to stick with it here for a little while.
I was checking the wires for overnight sales of soybeans. I didn't see anything today, do we?
No, there wasn't anything there. I think we had about 3 sales last week, which added a little bit of support.
All right. Now, we did have a higher soy oil trade, like you mentioned, and then in the canola market, sharply higher this morning once again. Have you heard of anything in regard to how the harvest is going with the canola? Because that's a competing oil seed to the soy oil products we have.
I haven't really heard any as far as yields and so forth of canola, but I can tell you that, when the soybean market moves up on soy oil and so forth, it's usually not a very strong type of rally. So I'd be more impressed if we were going up on meal.
You would? Okay, that's interesting from that perspective. Any word on how South American planting is going on the new crop?
Well, it's moving along here. I haven't checked to see what we did last week as far as progress and so forth. I'll be catching that here a little later this morning.
All right. Any ideas on the U.S. dollar? I've seen it higher and lower here recently.
I think ultimately we'll be looking at the U.S. dollar moving up into about the 103 to 104 area before we see a major top in it. I've been saying that for months, and looks like we're trying to move a little bit higher here. At least we started last week. I don't know if this is the beginning of starting a new leg higher, but I do look for one more leg higher in the dollar.
You do? Okay. We're down 110 points this morning. December U.S. dollar index futures at 98.580. We'll pause for a little break. And Dewey, I want to get your impressions of how the livestock trade is reacting to all the USDA data we had Friday afternoon. We'll have that when we come back. Back with you here on the Market Day Report. I'm Marlon Bowling with you. We're talking with Dewey Strickler of AgWatch Market Advisors. He is based in Franklin, Kentucky. And Dewey had a whole slew of information that came out from USDA Friday afternoon. It was all livestock related. And we got the cattle on feed numbers. We also got our cold storage report at the very same time. And I'm hearing different things from different analysts today. Most of them say that cattle on feed report, and we can take a look at those numbers. They say that was a very bullish report. We had on feed at 100% of a year ago. Trade was looking for 101.3, so that was bullish. Placements only 98%. And the average trade guess was 103.9, so way fewer placements than the trade was expecting to see. The marketings were a little light, though, 105% when the trade was looking for 106.1. But on the flip side, some analysts are saying that cold storage report was very bearish, where you have record high beef supplies compared to the previous month of August. And record high red meat supplies, too, compared to August. So which one is winning out? Let's take a look here, Dewey, at the futures. Let's go to the live cattle board here and see how the early trade is shaping up. Well, it looks like the cattle on feed report wins. The December live cattle up 262 today at 104.50 per hundredweight. February up $1.95 at 104.75. And on the feeder cattle side, as we switch over there, November now $3.30 higher at 123 even per hundredweight. January up 302 at 118.52. Is that what you expected to see this morning, Dewey?
Well, obviously, the trade is looking at the placement numbers and are largely ignoring what's going on in the cold storage. When I look at the cattle market, I'm a little bit suspicious of this market here, even though that we have gone up and we've taken out the 104 area and we have set a higher high. It does not look like a market that has a definable bottom end yet. So I'm a little bit leery of it here right now. Let's just see what goes, whether we hold our strength today and what we look at first thing in the morning. Okay,
Dewey, I have a question here for you. On Friday, according to USDA, we did not have any cash cattle trade that sold at all. And it seems to me that sooner or later these packers are going to have to come and acquire some animals. They didn't buy anything late last week, and then from what I had understood on Friday, they were waiting for that report to come out. Well, now with the futures reacting the way it is now what do they do?
Well, you know, it wouldn't be the first time that the packers have erred and would have to come in and secure their needs.
So have you heard anything in the way of maybe asking prices changing this morning?
No, I haven't heard anything yet.
A little early yet, so there's going to be a real tug-of-war going on there. All right, now we talked about the impact on the cattle side from the cattle on feed report. The cold storage report was very bearish for the cattle. But on the other hand, on the pork, now that was not a record. If we look at our lean hog trade here this morning, we have December up $1.20, Dewey, at 43.05. We're getting further and further and further away from that 40.70 low that we had last week. February now 96 higher at 49.68 per hundredweight. Are the lean hog futures just tagging along on the coattails of the cattle trade today, or what's going on here?
I think you're 100% correct. I think that's all that they're doing. If you notice, the market went up quickly, set a high, now it's starting backing off.
Now, I do see the nearby months are by far leading the charge. The deferreds are not keeping up nearly as well as the nearbys are. However, the nearbys are already at a steep discount to the deferreds anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Technically, you know, what the hog market's got to do on the D's, we need to get up past the 45-cent mark here to indicate that we do have a solid bottom in the market. And, of course, we just have to wait and see whether we get that today or possibly get it tomorrow or what develops.
Would you consider the low to be in if we close higher today, maybe tomorrow too?
We really need to get up past 45, and the reason I say that, of course, I'm an old professional trader, and the thing you look for, and that is markets setting higher highs or lower highs. Okay. And if we get up past 45, you will have a higher high.
All right, very good information. Thanks, Dewey. Dewey Strickler with AgWatch Market Advisors in Franklin, Kentucky. So there you have it, Christina. A very, I guess, aggressive start on the livestock trade on a Monday.
Yeah, like you said, going with that cattle on feed report over cold storage. Yeah, interesting. We'll keep watching. Thank you so much, Markets Editor Marlon.